You're listening to Women in Sports, a weekly conversation with the legends, rising stars, and athletes making history in Minnesota and beyond. This episode brought to you by Franzen Bank and Trust. Welcome to another episode of the Women in Sports podcast. I'm Marielle Mose. Today, we are catching up with Quinn Kuntz. She is a former hockey goalie, a college national champion multiple times, and she has a social media presence that is paving the way for other women interested in the world of hockey and sports in general. Quinn, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So you live in Minneapolis now. You've embraced Minnesota as home, but I want to go back to the early days because you're actually not from Minnesota. Where did the little hockey dream begin?
Yeah, I'm actually from Grand Forks, North Dakota, so grew up there, and obviously hockey was a big part of my life. I would say, I grew up in the Ralph Engelstad there. I always loved going to, Fighting Sioux games growing up, and had the Lammers as, my main mentors just to watch, and I always loved hockey, so.
But you eventually graduated high school and went to the state tournament here from Warroad. Can you talk about that transition from North Dakota to kind of the hockey capital, if you will, in Minnesota?
Hockey Town, USA.
There we go.
Yeah, so as I got into high school and even in middle school, I knew I had the dream to play Division I hockey. Always took hockey very seriously. It was my main sport. But kind of realized that a lot of coaches told you to move away from home, unfortunately. Just wasn't getting very much visibility in North Dakota high school hockey. So my junior year, I decided to move out east to Selects Academy, actually. It was a prep school out there, and just kind of realized different situations and stuff wasn't a right fit for me. So thankfully, my parents worked with me, and we decided I could come home and just kind of get my bearings under, but you can't play North Dakota hockey if you leave in the same season. So I think this was around November. So thankfully, Izzy Marvin, got connected with him, and just probably one of my favorite coaches I've ever had. So moved to Warroad, Minnesota. My poor little brothers, they had to come with me, pulled out of middle school and elementary school. So it happened very fast, but super thankful that I ended up in the right spot eventually. Deciding to leave home wasn't easy, but it all did work out for the better. And then, I got to play in, so I lost a state championship in North Dakota the year before, and then went on to Minnesota, played 2 more my junior and then senior year, and also lost those, but that's okay.
But you were a runner-up for Warroad, right?
Yes.
You got the second place medal around your neck?
Yeah.
Okay, still something to be proud of, even though as a competitive person like yourself, it's probably just ugh.
Huge competitive person, but it's such a great experience playing in the XL Energy Center, now the Grand Casino Arena.
Yeah.
But I always have those memories of just warming up in where the Wild warm up and seeing their locker room and stuff. So it is really probably the best state tournament.
Totally.
Undisputed. So really glad I got to be a part of it.
It sells out for boys especially, but even girls get such a huge crowd, and it's growing each year, which is so great to see.
Yeah.
I want to go back a little bit. The sacrifice your family must have made.
Mm-hmm.
What did that mean to you, that they believed in you that much, that they were going to uproot a huge family with other little siblings that maybe weren't on the same trajectory as you for you?
Yeah, I think, as I get older, I kind of realize more how important it was to me. And maybe at the time, a 16, 17-year-old girl isn't very appreciative. Oh, thanks for moving the entire family for me. I don't think those words ever came out of my mouth when I got there. But I think now I'm just, obviously reflecting on, my college career and high school. I think, I am so thankful for my family. I'm super close with my family. And I always say, I owe my brothers a beer for sure when they get older, because that could not have been easy. So super thankful, my mom, my dad, everything.
Yeah, that is major. And I think a lot of parents listening to this podcast can probably relate to that, because in order to get your kid noticed in any sport and get them to the D1 level, major sacrifices are made.
For sure. And like when I was out east, I just told my mom, like, I just want to come home. I don't even want to play hockey anymore. And that's when she knew like something was wrong. Like for me to say that was crazy. So I'm really glad I ended up in, such a great community, and just really loved my time there.
Good. You are a goalie, which I am so fascinated by goalies because I cover them all the time in a lot of different sports, but especially in hockey. Like, it's such a difficult position. Not only the crazy flexibility you have to have in the net, but you are having pucks launched at you at like rapid speed. How did you choose this position? Because it's to pursue it from the jump. It takes a special person.
Yeah, I always kind of say it chose me. So when you're like 10U, everyone kind of plays goalie, or at least in North Dakota you did. Everyone kind of takes a turn. No one's really sure yet. And now coaching goalies in Minnesota, like there's committed goalies right from the start, which is so funny to me. But I always played both. And then when 12U needed a goalie, so which was an age above my age, they were like, oh, like, Quinn was pretty good at it. Like, let her do it. So I actually played 2 seasons in one. Also not sure how my parents did that. Sounds crazy now. But so I was 12U goalie and then played player my own age. So was able to kind of, like, still bring my player abilities with me to goalie, which I think definitely helped. And you can see in, like, the way I played goalie. But yeah, it was kind of wild, and I would say like it chose me, but I really did love it.
Did you like the opportunity to be like, oh, if I play goalie, I can play up with better players and stronger players?
Yeah, for sure. I always played up, multiple age levels. I think I started playing 18U when I was 14. So obviously some interesting locker room dynamics, but
totally.
If you need a goalie, you need a goalie. So it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I always joke because when you're younger, like every year is like a lifetime. Once you hit your 25, especially 30 plus, we're all the same. But like when you're that young, like a 14-year-old compared to an 18-year-old, that is like a lifetime of maturity and strength.
For sure. I think it helped me grow up and be a little more mature too. And then, taking that step of, moving away from home, obviously makes you mature very quick too. So
definitely. So you leave home finally to go to college. You spent 5 of your 6 collegiate years for playing for the Ohio State. I'll say it.
Good
job. Why did you choose the Buckeye program? What drew you to them?
So my junior year in Warroad, I remember exactly where I was when I heard that UND was no longer going to have a women's program.
Was that crushing?
Absolutely. I think it was kind of my mom's dream to have me go away for high school and come back for college, obviously growing up in Grand Forks. And then, when that happened, it was just kind of couldn't believe it. It's such a beautiful rink, and always, grew up going to games. So that was super tough news. But luckily, one of the associate coaches there, Peter Erlander, actually ended up on Ohio State's staff. So that was kind of the connection there. And then, doing a showcase, I think, down in Florida, one of, a college showcase where collegiate coaches come watch you and coach you. We kind of reconnected, and that's kind of how I ended up back at Ohio State.
Did you like your experience in Columbus?
Yeah, I actually love Columbus. I think it's often ranked one of the most underrated cities, and I can definitely vouch for that. It's really a special place.
And while you were there, casually got 2 national championships under your belt. What was that experience like to be part of title teams?
Yeah, I think I remember going into my freshman year, coming off of an injury and injured most of that season, but the excitement was definitely there because we were ranked the highest any Buckeye women's hockey team had been ranked in history, and I think it was ranked 5th. So we were ecstatic to be 5th. So I definitely came into a program that was, trending upwards, and a lot of credit to Nadine Mazzarella, the coach there. She really turned the program around. So it was cool to see every year us just like continue to work hard and kind of build up to, you know, taking on the Gophers and the Wisconsin Badgers, who were, you know, the big dogs, if you will, at the time. So, and now they're kind of all head to head, which is cool.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State always part of the conversation when it comes to the Frozen Four. What was that like playing against the Gophers, a team that I'm sure you considered?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's always a great atmosphere in Ritter. You know, we play in that rink probably 4 or 5 times a year because WCHA often ends up there. So we kind of start to think of it as, you know, a home away from home rink. You know, we end up doing pretty well there. So it's always cool to, you know, play against your friends too. Hockey is such a small world, and there's connections through every team. You know, you grew up playing with or against these girls. So it's always fun to have a WCHA matchup.
I bet. And I heard also this year the WCHA tournament's going to be in the new St. Thomas Arena.
Yeah, it was actually just in St. Thomas. I think it's Penny.
Yeah, Penny and Lee Anderson.
Yeah, it was
so nice.
Was there the other day to watch Wisconsin and St. Thomas and got a little behind the scenes tour, and it's beautiful for sure.
Yeah. And then speaking of Wisconsin, you play your 6th year, transfer to Wisconsin. Why make that why enter the transfer portal your final year of eligibility?
Yeah, I think, you know, the situation with an injury kind of happened, and I wasn't sure if I was going to get the year back, and honestly wasn't sure if I should take it. Who does 6 years of college? So it's definitely something I contemplated for a very long time, and then kind of ended finding out about getting the year back late March after the season had ended, and obviously, like, you know, the team was expected to have another goalie come in, and just spending 5 years there, super grateful for all the experiences and friends I made there, but I think, like, it was kind of time to find something new, so I decided to enter the transfer portal.
And you land at Wisconsin, and it's your final year to just live it up in the hockey collegiate world. You get another national championship.
Yeah.
What was that like, that final, like, hurrah, that feather in your cap for your college years?
I think just kind of going from a year where, you know, I spent the most of the later part of the year injured and just kind of like, oh, this is my last year of hockey and this is how it's ending, was kind of hard. So I think, like, going into my last year at Wisconsin and knowing for sure that it was my last year of college hockey just helped me appreciate everything more, just, like, you know, spending time at the rink, and just, you know, long bus rides with the girls and everything. So I think everything just kind of built up through the year to that moment again, and it was super special. It was in Minnesota,
that's
so
right.
my entire family was there, and yeah, it was just so cool, like, seeing them behind the glass and accomplishing that, because, you know, previous years wasn't able to have my whole family there, so that one was actually very special.
With the transfer portal being such a more popular concept now, and so much more common, I always am like, gosh, how do these athletes, like, adjust when they get so used to the cohesiveness and the gelling of a team and then just rip away from that and try to find it somewhere else? But as a goalie, I'm curious, like, you are such a, yes, you're an integral part of the team, but you are an independent unit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you in the net. Does that make it easier to transfer and find your footing, like, pretty much right away?
I think it's easier in the sense that you don't have to get used to playing with a D partner or a different line. But I think, yeah, building relationships between goalies and having, like, a good goalie core is definitely important. So leaving a really good goalie core that I had in my last year with Reagan Kirk, Amanda Thiele, and Lexington, I think, you know, it was kind of hard because, you know, even through high school, I hadn't really had that special, like, bond and connection. So I think, it does take some time to form those bonds. But, my goalie partners at Wisconsin were super nice and thankful that they kind of welcomed me in. But I think, in terms of playing individually, it's probably a little easier.
Has there been now that you're out of the hockey world and you're living your life as an adult, is there something that hockey has taught you that you carry with you still to this day, that transfers into anything you do professionally?
I think just being a student athlete in general ingrains a different self-worth, self-discipline. I always kind of pride myself on being a hardworking individual. And I think when you get into having real jobs and such, you can definitely tell a difference. And there's a different kind of mindset around it, which is, what I kind of strive to continue to bring from hockey. Thankfully, hockey's kind of always a part of my life. So I'm coaching right now, and, working around sports in general is something that I really thrive on and love to do. So I think bringing, different time management skills and everything is transferable for sure.
And I feel like goalies have so much pressure on them, just to not only make elite saves, penalty, all that. Do you think being able to handle all that pressure in a D1 level has helped you in life when it comes to you're probably pretty fearless, I'm guessing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just kind of growing up always. My mom would definitely call me fearless growing up, going down the sledding hill, skiing, whatever. But I think now definitely cool under pressure and just trying to able to, take on as many things as I can handle and really use that in the real world and continue to kind of climb the ranks in whatever position I pursue, I think is definitely something that, I use.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite save, a most memorable save where you're I'll never forget that?
I have a lot of goals against that are going through my head that I'm I want to forget. I don't know about a favorite save. I think any flashy glove save is probably a goalie's favorite. And then I just love to play the puck as well. So, an assist is pretty memorable. A lot of goalie goals in the NHL right now, which is fun to see. Never got one of those. But, I think, a good glove save is probably the best feeling in the world.
I can't even imagine what that must be like. Or, a shootout save situation must be an incredible feeling.
Yeah, I had one penalty shot against St. Thomas that comes to mind. And, that was a pretty great feeling to be able to stop that. And
secure the win.
Yes.
Let's switch things up with a little rapid fire.
Okay.
Favorite team as a kid?
The Blackhawks.
Favorite team now?
Minnesota Wild.
Love it. What's your hype song? What gets you going?
Ooh, I love Doses and Mimosas.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
What's your joy outside of hockey? If you're not coaching or playing, what brings you joy? Is there a little hobby or pastime we don't know about?
I have a lot of hobbies, I'm not going to lie. I love to read, love to go on walks, coffee shops, spend time with my friends and family, travel. So I really do try and fill all of my free time. I kind of say I never like to be bored, or I get bored very easily. So I'm usually planning my next trip or my next activity.
What's your latest book rec?
Ooh, I'm reading Firefly Lane right now by, is it Kristen Hanna?
Yeah.
I absolutely loved The Women. I finished that last year and had to set it down and just think for a little bit. So any of her books I recommend. The Nightingale also made me do that. So really excited to get deeper into this one. Just started it. So.
She's such a good author, and The Woman has been on my list for so long, so you highly recommend it.
Yes, definitely. It's gory, but so worth it. And then I think they're making The Nightingale and maybe The Woman into like a TV show or movie. So definitely read before. Yes.
And then lastly, a piece of advice that's always stuck with you.
I think just be kind. My mom is one of the most compassionate, kind individuals I know, and I think bringing that just even into the locker room and always being a good teammate definitely goes the extra mile and is what people are going to remember most about you. I think just always being supportive of your teammates, goalie partners, picking people up when they have a bad day, just like really does show the kind of person you are. So.
I'm glad you said that. I think, especially right now in the world we're living in Minneapolis, we're learning so much how important kindness is. It goes such a long way, and it's so easy.
Yeah.
And it's like this forgotten art sometimes, it feels. But
For sure.
So I'm glad you reminded us how important that is. Thank you. So you mentioned briefly that you're coaching now. Tell me a little bit about that. Like, how did you get into coaching? Who are you coaching? And what's that been like?
Yeah, I've kind of always coached mostly in the summers, whether, Ohio State or Wisconsin had their camps that they would bring kids or future recruits in. Always helped out with those. And then most of the summers I spent coaching week-long camps. So with goalie coaches, I had the opportunity to go to like Whitefish, Montana, Minot, North Dakota, Fargo, and then they do one in Eden Prairie too. So kind of been all over the place with them, and it's super fun to, now that I'm just finished my third summer with them. So it's fun to like have kids come back and be like, Quinn, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like how was the year? And I'm actually mentoring some of those kids online throughout the year. Awesome. So I get to like keep up with their seasons, which is awesome. And then Devenir Goaltending is another company based in Minnesota that has a lot of goalies, really great goalies. So coaching through that, those are kind of, before school, after school, Sundays, weekends, working around games in school and such. And then also had the opportunity to join 2 high school programs in Minnesota this year, which has been so much fun, just like kind of being part of, small part of a team. So I'm with Jefferson, Bloomington, boys varsity, and then Blake girls varsity. So it's been awesome.
Nice. How did the boys embrace you as having like a woman as a hockey coach?
Yeah, I think it was fun to meet with the head coach before the season, and I think he kind of asked a few of the captains like, hey, like what do you guys think about having a women coach, because I am the only women coach on staff, and they're like, hey, as long as she's qualified, and I think I'm pretty qualified, so yeah, it's been really fun, and I think the dynamic is fun. Coaching boys and girls is definitely very different, but have some great goalies there.
Love that. That's wonderful that you're giving back to a game that gave you so much. You also are involved in Big Ten Network, right?
Yes.
Tell me what you do with them.
Yeah, so I do a lot of social media, sports media, analytics, help them with graphics, kind of anything they request, and I bring, my own trends and ideas to them. So it's a very good open relationship that we can just kind of like bounce ideas off of each other, and have been able to travel to a few different events with them, which is what is really fun. So I think just working in sports is so exciting to me, and doesn't really feel like work, especially with social media. It just kind of comes natural to me and is something that I really enjoy.
Yeah, I can resonate with that. Being in the sports world doesn't feel like work. It's so much fun.
Yes.
Speaking of social media, that is sort of how I learned about you more recently. Is you have such a great social media presence. I love your content on TikTok. You take us for tours on coffee shops around the Twin Cities. I think that's awesome. It's really taken off in a big way. Have you been surprised by how much your social platform has grown, and how are you using that kind of to your advantage?
Yeah, thank you. I'm honored. I think, it started out as something super fun while I was a student athlete and just kind of grew, had some viral videos here and there, and just kind of wanted to continue to share my experience as a student athlete. I think like lately I've been definitely getting more of my personality on there instead of just doing like trend viral videos, which has been fun. And I kind of honestly thought my growth would be over after college athletics. Oh, she's washed up now. So it's been fun to see that continue. Maybe people do enjoy what I put out there, which is always great to hear. So I think, just trying to find, new ways to share, my new life with everyone and, take them on different, Big Ten experiences or coffee shops. I should try and do my own book talk, but I just prefer listening to them. I don't know if I'm ready for that. But
Well, I'm ready when you're ready to give me book recommendations. I'm here for it. What is the coffee shop in town that you're loving the most right now?
So I think I've tried about 35 in the past.
Dang.
Yeah. I'm really, really hitting them all up.
You're a very caffeinated person.
I don't go every day. I do make it at home, contrary to popular belief. But I will say one that's, pretty close to me is Silver Fern. My friend Gabby actually showed me it. And I just really, really love the vibes there.
Hey, Silver Fern, haven't even heard of it.
Oh, you have to go.
So this is why I'm glad you said something. Opened my eyes. I love it. And then, between coaching, your social media presence, you must have young girls who have big dreams to play D1 and maybe someday even in the PWHL. How important is it for you to pour back into that younger generation and be part of fostering the new goalies?
Yeah, I think once I started coaching a lot more, I began to, think of, some of the coaches I had growing up. And it's kind of crazy that I can be, that role model that they were to me. It doesn't really feel like I'm in that role when I'm doing it. I'm just trying to, have fun, help them work hard and, get better each day. So I think, with a lot of my goalies, they'll be like, "Oh, I saw you on TikTok," and I'm like, "Oh, let's do the drill." No, but it is fun, and knowing that they follow me also like helps me like motivate me and really keep my content very appropriate and just kind of be conscious of that I do have people watching me. So I think it's great, and as long as it doesn't interrupt actual coaching time, we can talk about TikTok.
That's got to be I don't know that world. I'm just starting to get into the TikTok world. Annie and I went to Florida, and that was like our first tackling of TikTok. It's a lot, but that's like their whole world, and that's how they almost like communicate and speak. Yeah,
for sure. I didn't grow up with TikTok. I think I got Facebook when I was like 13 with my mom's permission. So I think it's definitely a different world, and they have access to a lot of different content. So just trying to be a good role model and continue to motivate and share good experiences.
And what do you find the most surprising about the next generation of goalies? I mean, you kind of already mentioned, like, they're deciding they want to be a goalie from the jump. There's no, like, rotating goalies in the youth level as much anymore. But what else has surprised you about this next generation coming up?
Yeah, I think, working with kids, I'm always like, oh, I wonder what if I looked like this at this age, which is cool to see. I think goalie as a position is always evolving. There's things that I was maybe taught back when I was a kid that aren't really taught as much anymore. So I think just, watching current PWHL, NHL goalies and, seeing how they play the game, and there's constantly new developments and tweaks, like how you hold your glove, how you enter the post, and we can go into specifics if you want. But I think, it's just a constantly evolving sport, and, same thing with players. There's always like a new shootout move or something like that. So I think hockey is super unique, and it's going to continue to grow for sure.
Are you excited with what the the PWHL and the growth we're seeing there?
Yeah, absolutely. We went to a Frost game last weekend, and it was great. Often have friends playing against each other, which is always fun to see and see them do well. So I think like I hope it continues to grow, and sounds like they're expanding next year. So it'll be fun to see.
Would you ever unretire yourself?
I am still training. Not ready to quite give it up fully. Just so I think like just continue to work hard and see what happens.
All right, never say never. I love it. We end every podcast the same way. Quinn, who is the sports sis you're hyping these days? Who do you want us to be paying attention to?
I would like to hype my sister, Sophie Jakes. She just made Canadians Olympic team. She is awesome, one of my best friends from Ohio State, and she's going to her first Olympics right around the corner. So super excited to watch her and other former teammates.
And she's a former Frost player.
Yes, yeah. She won 2 Walter Cups. I was actually able to watch last year here and see her win that. And, you know, she's honestly just a great competitor and a winner. So it'll be cool to see her on the Olympic stage too.
Awesome. Yeah, I cannot wait for the Olympics. So many Minnesotans. For you, I'm sure just so many friends competing. So good luck to them. And lastly, what is your why? What motivates you every day to play hockey, to keep doing what you're doing and coaching and giving back? Like, what's the why?
I think just, continuing to work hard every day is motivated just kind of by my family. So I'm one of 6 kids, and we're all pretty competitive, but I think, we're competitive in different ways. My sister's about to graduate med school, super proud of her. And I think, I just love, sharing my accomplishments with them and, trying to make my parents proud every day is really kind of what motivates me.
For sure. I mean, they probably have zero regrets that they made that big decision to uproot the family to see, where you are today.
Hopefully.
Quinn, where can people find you if they want to follow your content like me?
All of my usernames are my name, Quinn Kuntz. TikTok's probably where I'm on the most, but
okay.
Instagram, whatever, follow me for sure.
Okay, so if you need book recommendations, coffee recommendations, or overall just Big Ten content.
Content's all over the place. I'm sure you'll like something.
Quinn, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to Women in Sports, a weekly conversation with your favorite female athletes. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you next week.